Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Does It Resonate with You, where we explore all things woo woo and encourage you to figure out what resonates with you and what doesn't. Take what you need and leave the rest.
Hi, everybody. That
Hi,
was
Angie.
amazing.
This is awesome. I'm so glad to be here.
Me too. I'm glad. I'm glad we're back. We're on episode 4, right?
A
Or
month.
3.
A month. We've done a month. This is amazing.
It's amazing, and it's just going to keep going up from here. So we're going to start right away by saying, if you're looking at us on YouTube, or if you're looking at us on Facebook, pop over to YouTube and either find the Tarot Geek or find Angie ZXUH Energy Master and actually find both and
Please
subscribe.
do.
Click subscribe so that you can, watch us every week and get those notifications. Anyway, so welcome. We've already done our intro. This is cool. Like,
Mhm.
we're gonna have to get used to all these little bells and whistles that we're adding now. How are you this week?
I'm glad it's Friday and not in the TGIF sense of the word. More just I had so many opportunities and so many amazing things happen. It's like, okay, I just want to get my arms around what happened this week and process it. So I had a good week, but it was like fire hose, download sort of a thing.
Yeah, that happens. That does happen. It happens less and less the more you move on because you start to manage your energy in a way
Yeah.
that's a little bit different,
Yep.
which is not good or bad, because in the beginning it's fun, right? Like, that's fun. It's so cool. Like,
Yeah.
every time you turn around, something new is showing up, and that's amazing.
Exactly this week.
So, yeah. So, and then it's hard to pick, right? Hard to pick
Right.
what you
Right.
want,
Where am I going to
how
put
does
my
this all
time?
fit together?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and sometimes you get downloads that are appropriate for you in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't get to them all, because remember that spirit or source or God or whatever the universe, whatever your concept is of that, has no clue. They have no concept of the construct of human time.
Right.
So they give you all this stuff, and then human time steps in and says, well, that's really a lot. So you're going to have to pick, right? So maybe you get 4 things and you have to pick 2. But sometimes what happens is, then when you get through the two that you left behind are no longer a good fit anymore, because you've changed your vibration.
Yeah,
You've
and
changed your
you've
perception.
implemented something. You're now further along than you were, and it makes more sense. Yep.
Exactly. So, and that's okay,
Mhm.
right? Because what will happen is those ideas will just put themselves back out into the universe until they find someone else to hook up with. That's the way I believe it works. Maybe for next week, I'll have to find the name of that book. It's the woman that wrote Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh, well, we got Google right here, right?
Yeah, we do. The woman that wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and she wrote another book that was really all about ideas and how they do that, and how it, like, an explanation why 2 people can come up with the same idea at the same time,
Right.
because ideas are out there floating around like little bubbles, if you will, which I find actually very, spot on, considering the way that I get a lot of my information is in little bubbles within a meditation. And if you don't act on them, then they hang around for a little while waiting, and then if you don't act on them at all, they move on and go, find themselves somewhere else. Like, there are things that are waiting to be brought into the world. I think that's kind of a really cool way, and maybe actually one of those little explanations for, like magic, right?
Oh,
which we will talk about. We do have that as a subject, folks.
Yep.
So that's not really the subject today, but
Elizabeth
if you
Gilbert.
have her name, though, I would love to hear it.
Elizabeth Gilbert.
Okay, Elizabeth Gilbert. If you look up, you'll be able to tell the book, like, and if I think of it, I'll look it up before we get off and drop it in the comments.
Big Magic?
That's it. It's all
Big
about
magic.
magic.
Creative
Big
living
magic.
beyond fear.
Right. And it's really, you know how I told you I don't read a lot of books. I read most of this one.
Really? That's
I did.
that's an
That's
accomplishment.
a lot for me.
I
Like
know.
I don't read a lot. I mean, I do read a lot of books, but I don't read a lot of spiritual books.
Oh, okay.
I read fiction. I read
Oh,
fluffy
okay.
and funny
Funny.
fiction.
That's I think we talked about this. I'm totally polar opposite. I only read spiritual books, and
Well, see?
I whip through them so fast.
See, but that's my point is that's great. So you read them. I don't need to. You could tell me about them.
We'll
Like,
do book review, and that'll be my thing.
yeah, right? Like, I mean, I remember I was taking a class with my niece and she held this book up and she goes, "Look, Angie, this book is written by the guy that basically created energy work. Do you want to read it when I'm done?" And I'm like, "No, you just tell me about it." That's me.
It's
Anyway,
the niece version of Cliff Notes.
right, exactly. So I could listen to her talk for hours. So she moved into the really more scientific end. Brilliant, like what do you call that? Like it's neurospirituality, really, is what she kind of is her specialty now.
Oh wow!
And
Huh.
it's fascinating. Um, it's heavy, right? And
Yeah.
it's a lot to pay attention to. So it's not my thing, but I want to hear. Like it's
Right.
not what I want to study, but I want to hear about it.
Right.
Like there are
Well, like
things within it that make sense to me and that
in my book,
apply.
I've got a chapter on that of how science has shown that here I got to talk about this now. Okay, so the book is by Dean Radin, and it's he's a scientist and also into woo woo, and he describes these experiments where two people are sitting in different buildings and one is going to try and transmit the image to the other person, right? And they have like they might have 4 different images or 8 different images. Point is that statistically, you should only be getting like 25% of them right if it's just pure statistics. But every time they do this experiment, it's like 25.5%.
Huh.
And it's consistent, right? So why is it not exactly 25%? What's that other 5%? And Dean Radin, basically lays out the science and the statistics and everything. He says it's because there's something outside of us that is enabling us to communicate over time and over distance. The point is, it's a scientific experiment that shows that woo-woo is real, right? And for me, that was the opening for me to go in. That was the beginning of my journey, basically, because before that I'm like, this stuff, it sounds interesting, but I just can't believe it because it's not science. It's just wasn't, it wasn't real enough. I hadn't experienced it yet. But once I saw, oh, there's actually scientists that are doing work on this and they're showing consistent results, like, okay, now you got my attention, let me read this. So I was amazed. This guy, Dean Radin, look him up. He's you don't have to read the book. I'll read it to you. But
No, you'll tell me about it.
I'll tell
Like,
you
let's
about it.
not get ahead of ourselves here.
Hang on, let me get the title of that book, because I want to meet him someday because he changed my life. All right, the name
Real
of the book,
Magic, The Conscious
Real
Universe.
Magic is the second book I read. The first one was Entangled Minds. Entangled Minds, Extrasensory Experiences in a Quantum Reality. That book literally changed my life. So Dean Radin, if you're listening, let's get on a Zoom and have a meet and greet.
There you go.
Real Magic is good too. You know how the collective consciousness thing about how magic is built into the collective, how it reinforces itself over the collective consciousness. That's in his Real Magic book.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well, oh dear. The second one didn't want to paste or post or whatever. There we go. All right. So one is Entangled Mind. Now I don't know. Now one is I put Entangled Minds and I put Big Magic in the comments so you can check them out.
Okay, cool.
All right. So now, because now we've already, started on like 2 other different shows, let's move on to what we plan to talk about today, because I think this is really interesting the really interesting, these subjects like the two sides and polarity. And so I really want to start first with talking about that little video. My daughter-in-law actually sent it to me. And it's called Different Realities, How We See Ourselves versus How Others See Us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was good.
And that was on YouTube. And I thought, wow, that was so fascinating because they had a forensic artist, a police, right? Wasn't it a
Yep, it was
police?
forensic artist.
Police forensic artist. And they had people spend some time together. And then they had a person describe themselves to the forensic artist. And he couldn't see any of them.
Right.
And he did the drawing. And then the other person that they spent time with gave a description. And it was amazing the difference between the two and how much more beautiful. Do we use the word beautiful? Dare we? Or attractive, I suppose. So what is going on in our heads?
I don't know. In fact, it just floored me that he could get that level of detail just from the people describing the face, and the fact that two people were describing exactly the same face but differently, and the other person always described it, or the result was always a prettier picture when someone else was describing it.
Right. Like, so what is the lens that we see ourselves through?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What is that lens? And so I can tell you, and I'm on my second go around on this journey, but I had a significant weight loss journey, a significant one.
Cool.
And I'm back at it. My life fell apart, and my body fought back, and so I'm on it again. But the first time,
COVID messed everybody up. So
yeah, it wasn't COVID, but
it was the time period, though. That time period.
Yeah, but no, it started in 2015, and it's not a conversation for here. But maybe somebody that's watching knows actually what it is, because I bet my daughter-in-law is in the audience. But anyway, I digress. What I'm getting at is, I lost through the journey 100 and give or take 25 pounds.
That's awesome.
And I'm going to do it again. But when I started getting into like the 30, 40, 50 range, everybody would say, wow, you look great.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Like you look great. And I'm going to tell you what, I didn't see it. And I didn't even see it in pictures, because I had the wherewithal, the forethought to take a picture of myself when I started. And then, like every month or two, I would take another one.
Yep.
And you could put one, you put the first one up, and then you put the one from 6 months later up right next to each other. I could not see it.
No kidding.
I literally could not see it.
Wow.
Like, it took me a really long time to be able to notice the difference.
Huh.
And everybody else was like, wow, look at the difference. And I'm like, I swear I don't see it. It's just crazy. So are we the hardest on ourselves?
I think we are. And that just goes back to that whole conversation about being kind and gentle to yourself.
Right.
Also, right?
Right.
Well, I think sometimes, and not considering the narcissists and the gaslighters, but quite often sensitive people, we are our own worst critics.
Absolutely.
It's
right.
It's the revision, like, oh, I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have done that. I wish this had gone better.
I wish this looked better.
Right.
I wish this felt better.
Yeah.
Right. I like all of it. It's crazy. And, you just wonder, like, where does that come from? Where does it come from? Like, where does the lens that you see yourself through come from? I think it comes from everywhere, like environment, from acquaintances, from family members. There are some families who have, children who lean towards overweight that give them nothing but trouble while they're small, and they grow up and they have nothing but food issues. And is it nature versus nurture? Is it learned? Is it genetic?
I think it's ego versus spirit, right? If you when you really come down to it, right? Your spirits,
Well,
you are whole and complete and beautiful as you are, and spirit knows that. And what's ego on top of that doing? Like, not good
well,
enough,
sure.
not
So,
good enough.
and the ego is reacting to all of that input.
Right, right.
The
All that
ego
input.
reacts to, right? The ego reacts to genetics. It reacts to ancestry. It reacts to patterns. It reacts to environment. It reacts to trauma.
Yeah. Yep.
It reacts to so many things. And all of those things have an impact on how we see ourselves,
Yep.
which is really interesting. So let's take it, like let's move into a little bit of a different realm when it comes to this. I mean, I hear people talk all the time about, oh, you need to transcend polarity. Like, you can't transcend polarity. You're freaking human. Okay. Like,
Right.
I'm sorry, but that is what it is.
Yep.
But let's say you're trying to create a spiritual business, a card reader business.
Okay.
You're
All
really
right.
good at it,
Keep
and you would
talking.
love to help people, and you want to be a card reader. If you could shift the way you see yourself into the way others see you, could you be more successful?
I think you just solved my problem, Angie.
That's what I
This is
do. No.
you saw it here, folks, live.
You can't make this stuff up, right?
That's really good. Holy cow.
Right?
That's really good.
Right?
Yeah.
So now let's take this one step further. If, like we were discussing before, the collective consciousness upholds your blocks and restrictions,
Mm-hmm.
what if, because remember in an earlier episode, I talked about how we can take ourselves outside of the
Yep.
collective consciousness.
Yeah.
What if you went outside of the collective consciousness to find that block or restriction, that thing that keeps you from seeing yourself how others see you,
Mm-hmm.
and you could find it more easily, and you are more empowered within that space? Maybe could you clear it faster?
Yeah, right. So just what popped in my mind, I just had a discussion about that this week. Imposter syndrome. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Mhm.
I'm not good enough. I can't possibly be, the thought leader or the whatever. If you take yourself outside of like the collective consciousness and see how other people see you, suddenly that goes away entirely, right?
Mhm. Right?
That's a
So
really interesting way of seeing imposter syndrome.
and you want to hear an interesting way of seeing imposter syndrome? I see it. Do you know those rubber band balls?
Yeah. Yep.
That's how I see imposter syndrome. In other words, it's a rubber band ball or a ball of spaghetti all filled up with all these little limiting beliefs and,
Yep.
patterns and actions and thoughts and choices all wound up into into this big ball that just gets in your way.
Yep.
Now, you know what else doesn't live outside the collective consciousness? The ego. Your
Mm.
ego is not it. It. Have you ever seen that show Ghosts? No, maybe not.
The
It's about
cable.
this. It's about this haunted bed and breakfast that these people inherited, and there's some. It's an English show, and they brought it to the United States
Oh
now.
yeah. Okay.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But their idea is that these ghosts belong to the property, and they can only go so far. So if they were to get in the car and try to drive with the owners of the B&B,
Right. They
they
wouldn't
can
be
only
able.
go so far, and they get booted out of the car, right?
Right.
Like
Right. Right. Right.
they can't. Or like in
Like
the show Once Upon a Time, it had the same thing, the same
Beetlejuice did
concept.
too. You ever see that movie?
Oh yeah, right. Of course, I
Same
watched
thing.
because Beetlejuice is not a horror flick. P.S. But anyway, I don't do horror flicks, but Beetlejuice was awesome.
Yeah.
How many times have I said Beetlejuice now? Are we in trouble?
We are in trouble, Angie. Guys,
Anyway,
lock your doors.
right? It is very much, I feel like that, where if you can visualize a circle, you're in the center of a circle,
Okay.
and within that circle is all this chaos and all this stuff and all this noise, right? the collective consciousness. Like, like the Borg, that's
Yeah.
a collective consciousness, right?
Ooh, well said. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So you, oh, wow, this is so good. Okay, check this. You're seeing it. You're seeing it
I am.
live. You're
I am.
seeing it
Yep.
happen live. This is happening live. Okay. So, and because I'm a Trekkie, but so you imagine this circle. You're in the center of the circle. There's all this chaos and all this noise. And even though you really can't identify or isolate something singly within that noise, there's a comfort in there because you know that everything you need or everything you're accustomed to is within this chaos, within this noise, within this collective consciousness. And then if you take yourself from the center and begin to move yourself closer and closer to the edge, and you can feel where the chaos eases and where the chaos begins to die down, and then all of a sudden you might find yourself on the other side of that circle, the outside of the circle, where the chaos no longer exists. You are now outside the collective consciousness. And for some people, being outside the collective consciousness might be scary. It might be lonely. It might be anything. For me, it is very empowering, and it can be that for everyone. You just have to get used to it.
Right. It's
right?
It's a different vibe, isn't it?
But if you think about the Borg, I love references, for sci-fi references. Whenever a Borg got separated from the collective, they freaked out a little bit at first, right?
Yep.
But then they were able to assimilate into a non-collective society. But here's the guidance I was given this morning.
Okay.
The noise is all in the collective consciousness, right?
Right.
And the collective consciousness upholds your blocks and restrictions, like we just talked about. So it's time to find teachers and leaders who are outside the collective consciousness, which there are many. It's not just me. That it may not look like the same thing. It may not be presented in the same way that I do, but you can tell who they are because you're looking for people who are revolutionary, not people who are telling you the same thing over and over again, right?
Okay.
Like right?
Yep.
What's happening is when you get there, if you begin to pay attention, we are creating a new collective consciousness. We are creating a new collective.
Cool.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm just trying to grasp what that actually means.
It just means that it's time for the old constructs to fall away.
Yes.
Maybe time for the patriarchy to die. It may be time for all this fear conscious, dare I say, overly oppressive religious, all of that.
Yep.
All of those constructs that get in between. So we're here to be human. We're here to have a physical experience. That's what we're here for.
Yep.
But all of these things have dimmed our inherent connection to our spiritual side. Like you said, spirit versus ego, right?
Yep.
And you're right, it's spirit versus ego. But if all of these things and all this energy and all this yucky stuff that is hanging around, like especially the last 5 years or whatever, oh wow, holy crap! I just got another one. Okay, sorry.
No, I'm good. I got something too, so keep going.
So, all of these things, it's time for us to move away from this collective. This collective is becoming polluted. But remember what I said about dynamics. So you agreed to participate in a dynamic. How did you do that? You came here, right? In this moment. Like, we take that dynamics are everywhere. They're within families, but they're within cities and towns and locations and whatever.
Sub-collective consciousnesses.
Right, exactly. So we participate in this dynamic, and as we, as light workers, begin to move into another collective, which is not to say there's not value in the collective we're in, because there is. There's wisdom, there's history, there's experience, that there's ancestry, there's
connection, there's
value,
friends,
there's connection, right? But as we begin to move into this other collective, this dynamic, what can happen is the people who are in the original dynamic start to wig out a little bit. And I believe that could very well be what's going on right now.
Yeah.
So, and I find a lot of comfort in that. So
here's what just came to me. Do you ever use the terms, that's a 3D thing, but we're actually talking this other thing is a 5D thing or a 4D thing?
No, I don't.
You don't? Okay. So
it's okay.
A lot of people, a lot of light workers use those terminologies, and
a lot of them do.
Really
and I think they use them as an excuse, but keep going.
I wasn't never exactly clear what that really means, but I bet there's a nice parallel between current collective consciousness, 3D, new collective consciousness, 5D.
No,
I
don't believe that.
All right.
You're here to be physical. You're here to be human. That is 3D, period. Okay. That's what I believe. Now, again, does it resonate with you? Great. If it does, if it doesn't, don't take it with you. I believe 3D, 3 dimensions, height, width, depth, physical, right?
Yep. With you there so far.
5th dimension is where I go to access things like the Akashic Record.
Okay.
And to go outside of the collective consciousness.
Okay.
But that's because consciousness exists on a different plane than human beings.
Right. Okay.
Right? Like, so because I believe there's a difference between consciousness and ego.
Absolutely.
So I think, if you massage what you're looking at into the idea that ego is a 3D thing,
yes,
and consciousness is a 5D thing,
yep,
I can get on board with that.
Okay. That's kind of what I was getting at. And what we just said, what you just talked about regarding old collective consciousness and new, fits and helps me understand that whole idea of the different planes.
Right. And what I feel like a lot of light workers are saying is that this, what we're in right now has to completely fall apart. And I don't believe that.
Because I would agree with that.
I believe that we are going to take the best of what's here along for the ride. It's not an all or nothing, right?
Right.
It's a combination. It's if you learn how to be a hairdresser, right? Let's just say you learn how to be a hairdresser and you're a hairdresser for 10 years or 20 years or whatever. And then you decide to go on and learn how to be a yoga instructor. And now you love to be a yoga instructor. That doesn't mean you're no longer a hairdresser.
Right. Okay. So there's value in some of our 3D skills.
Right. Well, and that's what we're here for.
Right. You're here to experience life in the physical.
Life, because that's what I believe this is. This one is very, very, out there, but because everybody would say, why am I here? What am I doing here? What is my purpose? Why am I here? I never asked that question. You want to know what I asked?
Yeah.
Why is here?
Oh, that's good.
Wow. Right?
Like, you want to talk about a big question, like big picture question? That's the perfect big picture question. Wow.
And so when I began to learn from Andrea Hess, who created Soul Realignment, which is the Akashic Record work that I do.
Okay.
And she said, you are here to be human. You're here to experience having edges, to be an individual. I thought, well, what if this earth was completely created as a, I don't know, shall we say a vacation spot?
Right.
And don't forget that if we all come from different, whatever, different archetypes, different soul groups, different planets within the universe, however you want to put that.
Yep.
There's always that possibility of dissonance, right? Like in some schools of thought that you have actual draconians and you have actual Polarians and you have actual Pleiadians and they all have different traits or different archetypes. And it's no accident that that corporations are called draconian in nature, right? Like,
I never put that
you
together.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I do. I
it's
do. That's funny.
and probably that's like another conversation for another time. I got to tell you, these conversations are freaking amazing. Like,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
cannot tell you how much fun I'm having and how amazing this is.
I know.
But we actually are at we're almost at time for
shameless plug.
shameless plug. But if one of the people that's in the audience at this moment is somebody that listened to my live stream last night, the water breath, could you just put in the comments whether or not I sound better now than I did last night? Because I am using a new microphone, and I think that video from last night is pretty like out there. So if you were there, if you heard it, if you could comment, I'd appreciate it. If not, that's okay too. Now, time for the, where is it? Come on now. Banner. Where's the banner? Oh, it's there. Sorry. Wow. I don't even know how to operate. There we go. Time for the shameless plug. So you go first.
Okay. So I'm going to plug my book again. I think I may have done that last week, but it doesn't matter. I get to plug it again. woowoobook.com. It's WOOWOOBOOK, woowoobook.com. And I'm giving away a free chapter. I want to hear from you. I want to I want to let you know when the book is going to be published. So get on the list, get your free chapter. I also have my my cards, so my oracle deck that goes with the book. And guess what? I'm getting some T-shirts that say "Ask Me About Woo Woo." So,
well, there you go.
Yeah, that's all coming up. We need to plug our oracle seance thing. I'll let you do that. Oh, thank you.
All right. I'm excited about the Oracle Seance. We've got some people already signed up. It is limited space though, so if you want to get in, this is going to be a really, really gentle way for us to connect you to your loved ones, to get you messages from your loved ones. We did one live stream already to sort of give you an idea of how it would work. And we'll probably do another one before the 12th. It is going to be, it's February 12th. I have two things that week, so I'm correct, right?
Yes.
Sunday the 12th.
Sunday the 12th
is the Oracle Seance. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a guided meditation to help you create a space where if you really want to try to connect to your loved ones on your own, you will have this space forever. And you'll be able to take yourself into a meditation and access this space and see what happens. But in addition to that, we're going to do this meditation. We're going to do the neutral state. We're going to do a prayer of intention, which is very important always. You know, you always want to create a safe and sacred container when you're doing that kind of work. But then we will be drawing not only a card as a significator, which means to tell you who, to give you an idea of who, their traits, their aspects, but also we're going to be drawing a message directly from that significator to you. And this is going to happen individually for each person that joins us. That's why we're keeping it to a very small group.
You're going to get a lot of individual attention on this event.
But we also want you to remember that even though it's not your message, there may be things that come through for you as well. So in other words, even when it's not your turn, you want to pay attention.
Keep paying attention.
Because you're likely to hear something that really resonates with you.
For sure.
You know, does it resonate with you? Anyway, so that is February 12th, Sunday, February 12th. You can find it's on the events tab on Lasting Serenity. And I will, when John's talking the next time, I'll put links to that in the comments here as well.
Cool. Yep. Good.
And then also on February 15th, I want to let you know that we're doing Astrology and Akasha Relationship Edition. That's with Lisa Hagenbuck, the astrologer. And we're going to be identifying some relationship blocks and restrictions, and also identifying some astrological aspects so that you can sort of take relationships to the next level. And this is not just about love relationships or romantic relationships. It's getting an idea of what makes you tick and the patterns of choice and action that may be present in your life that can create dissonance in your relationship. So I'm really excited for this one. The first one we did was very powerful.
Cool.
And that was just about combining astrology and Akasha. And this is sort of dialing it in even a little bit further.
Nice.
And if you would like to check out Lisa Hagenbuck before that event, she's going to be joining us next Friday.
Right.
When we will be talking about astrology. So that will be on Does It Resonate With You next Friday, February 10th.
Yep.
And it will be Lisa Hagenbuck. She's an astrologer extraordinaire. She knows her stuff. So we'll put a link to that as well.
Cool.
In the comments. And
Good.
I'll be posting the live stream for next week sometime, probably today or tomorrow. So you'll be able to comment on that. I did make a post already looking for questions for Lisa the astrologer.
Yes.
But if you have something you want to know about astrology, please, when you see that come up, add your questions, because we want to get as much, we've got that piece of time with her.
Yeah.
And we want to use it to the fullest.
Yep.
So, John and I have plenty of questions, but we'd love to get yours answers. We'd love to get yours answered too. So I think that's it for the shameless plugs. Do you have anything else?
Nope, that's good.
All right. Oh, and don't forget, go to YouTube and subscribe to our channels.
Yep.
Angie's the XUH Energy Master and Tarot Geek 111. So it's at Tarot Geek 111. And
Yep.
if you search that on YouTube, go to the filter and click on channels. It makes it a lot easier to find. I found that out.
We'll have to do a whole YouTube how to.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I was like, why can't I find my channel on YouTube? And then I found out about the filter. So
Yep.
There you go. All right. So we're going to turn that off. All right.
Hey, we got some other things we were talking about for this polarity idea. And one of the big ones that we came up with, this was yours, was the warrior versus rebel. You want to talk about that now?
Yeah, that'd be great. I think this is really interesting. And this was actually another little download that came to me. The idea of, everybody is, I'm a warrior. I want to be a warrior. I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior.
Right.
Which is fantastic. If you're a warrior, if you're a warrior spirit, that's great. But I wonder, and then I'll talk about rebel. I wonder if, as a warrior, if you hold a warrior spirit, in other words, you carry the warrior energy with you. And I ever come across warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, an interesting thing. In Akashic readings, I've run across warriors, and one who actually was a knight, on a joust,
right?
Who lost his arm to the joust, like it was so clear I could see it, and it was really interesting because it was the same shoulder that he had trouble with in this lifetime. Yep. So that will be another subject that we'll talk about, like what can past life things do, moving forward. But so the idea of a warrior, but when you think about a warrior, sometimes warriors are willing to step over and roll over, right? What do you think about that? Like they could be a little bit questionable in the way they act. What do you think?
And also bound to toe the party line, right?
Yes.
And is that who you are, who you want to be? Like whatever they tell me to do, yes, I will do it because I am a warrior, as opposed to I'm here to bring forth the truth, and if that means knocking down a sacred cow, sorry to the cows, if that means knocking down a sacred cow, so be it, because the truth needs to get out, right? That's your rebel.
And actually, if you think about it, that's collective consciousness versus outside the collective, right?
Ding, 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 ding. Wow, that does resonate with me.
I mean, isn't it something how these subjects are just kind of building themselves as we go?
Sure. Yep.
It's fascinating. Like, but so really, what do you want to be? Like, I lean towards the rebel, right? Like, but I told you I can't walk in through the outdoor. That is not.
You've got elements of both.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sometimes I suppose. But at my very core, like this is a very, very true story. I cannot walk in through the outdoor. I can't do it. So I was somewhere. The where is irrelevant, except for let's say it was a government building. Um, and I had to go out to another building.
Hmm.
So the way that you went out, the door said exit. That's what it said. It said
Right.
exit,
Yep.
right? You went out. There was one door. You went out. You went to the exit. You went to the building behind. And then when you were done, you came back. Well, the door says exit. My husband watched me walk around the building 4 times
To
because I
find
couldn't find
the
the door that
entrance.
said enter. Like I literally was stuck out and it was raining and it was wet and I had stepped in water. My shoes were wet. It was
It's,
unbelievable. And
wow.
and finally, somebody who worked in the building was coming out and I'm like, "Well, where do you go in?" He goes, "Here." I go, "But it says exit." And he looked at me like I was absolutely off my rocker. So, but you know what? You're right because here's the warrior. Let's say I'm at Wally World, Wally
Right.
World,
Yep.
right?
Oh, of course.
And I'm on the way out and I'm going out through the outdoor. Do not try to walk in through the outdoor and think I'm going to move out of the way for you. I am not.
Mm-mm.
Not going to happen.
Mm-mm.
It literally is not going to happen. You're going to have to step aside because I'm going to keep going. I am not letting you in through the outdoor. That's the indoor. You go in through the indoor.
That's
Now,
the
during
rule.
COVID, when we had the arrows in the
Oh,
grocery
like for
stores, did
lining
you
up?
have that? Did you?
Yeah,
No.
in
I-
supermarkets.
In the supermarket where you could only go in one
Right,
direction,
right, right.
in the aisles,
Yep.
I was like, oh my God, I've been waiting for this my entire life.
That's hilarious. Right. Finally, some order.
So is that, what is that? Like, is that the warrior, right? Like I want to walk in the, I did not, if I wouldn't go the wrong way in the aisle. Like, so it made me
You
walk more in
know,
the grocery stores actually,
I
because
I wonder though. So I don't know. Do you ever play D&D?
no, but I really should.
Okay, so here's the thing. When you're creating a character, there's a continuum of good versus evil, right? So you have your good over here, or actually it's I think evil over here, good over there. But then there's this other continuum, the vertical axis, which is chaotic versus um, I forgot the term, ordered, but it's the opposite of chaotic. So
Ordered sounds good.
yeah, my point is that I don't think we're talking about I don't think we're talking about
Oh, yeah, right.
warrior versus rebel
When
in
it
this.
comes to that.
Right. I think it's more, are you along the chaotic side of things or are you more aligned with the order side of things? And I think very clearly, I can't go in the outdoor, says that you are along the ordered side of things.
Which is really fascinating because, so here's another comparison. Um, and this is within the soul realignment program, and it's called your manifesting blueprint. And
Okay.
it's a list of comparisons. And so there's one comparison which is organic versus linear.
Okay.
So it's like organic, and then in the middle is, I don't know, what would you call that? Multitasker. I'm going to use the word multitasker. And
Right.
then linear. Like, so a linear person follows a recipe. They take one thing out, they cut it, they do whatever, they one by one by one by one, they follow the recipe. Like,
Yep. And the
you know,
recipe is the
it
standard.
is
You
is
have to
the
follow
thing.
it.
The guy in the middle is like, okay, I'm going to chop up the peppers and I'm going to chop up the onions and I'll throw them in a bowl. And then, oh, whoa, maybe that looks like it needs a little cilantro. So I'll throw that in too, even though it's not in the recipe. So I'm following the recipe, but I'm doing more than one thing at a time. And I'm kind of making it my own.
Right.
And then there's the organic who says, screw the recipe. What is in my refrigerator? Let me take some stuff out and I'll make something. That is me. I do
Okay.
not use recipes.
Wow.
So it's
I would
really
have guessed
interesting.
totally the opposite.
I know
maybe.
you would, right?
Yeah.
But when you looked at my blueprint, which I know I have somewhere, I should find it and print it out and put it somewhere safe so I can find it again. But so the scale is 0 to 100, right?
Yep.
0 is organic, 100 is linear. I'm 18.
Oh, wow.
Like, and so that's one of those things is like being organized. Oh, forget it. I have the best intentions. Like
Right.
buy boxes, piles of totes. Can't do it. I literally like freeze, so that's really interesting. So I'm a paradox
Yeah.
wrapped up in an enigma.
Wrapped up in a mystery.
So how does that I mean, we're all different, right? And
Yep.
it's good that we're all different, but where is the common thread, or where's the common ground that we can all come together? Is there a place that we can all come together?
I think so. This is one of the, I think this is one of the one of the understandings that I gathered from my spiritual journey, and that is that being comfortable with chaos is a skill that's helpful. Another way to say it is being willing to have an intention and then setting that out there into the universe and letting the universe manifest, bring you a result. My point is that if you are controlling and you have to be like recipe this, then this, then this, then this in your life, and you're not willing to say, you know what, I'm okay with chaos, I'm okay with today being different than yesterday, that if you're not willing to do that, then your journey is going to be very difficult, if even impossible. If you're willing to be okay with chaos, with a little bit of like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm just going for it, that's being open to what the universe is going to give you, what your guides and angels are preparing for you.
That right. Now, what's interesting to me about that is that the way I am is clearly identified in my astrological chart and in my Akashic record. I mean, even while I was learning it, and they tell you not to read for yourself,
Yeah.
but me, of course, I did it
Right.
anyway. Because like I was able to separate myself. Like I was able to put myself, I was able to do it as as an observer instead of a participant,
Oh,
right?
cool.
So I did the reading like I was doing the reading for someone
For
else. It
someone
just so
else,
happened to be
that's cool.
me.
Yep.
But so when you look at my Akashic characteristics, when you look at my astrological characteristics, they jive. Like they totally jive with who I am and how I operate.
Mm-hmm.
And oddly enough, because I'm a Libra, you would think everything, is in order, but
Right.
oh wow, oh my gosh, of course. So what's interesting about what you said and what you've pointed out now, you've identified something for me, is I am one like we used, like I had my tax office in the day of whiteout,
Okay.
right? Like,
Yep.
we don't have whiteout anymore, but in the day of whiteout, that just as a small example, there were a lot of other things, but we had this big shelf where we kept all the supplies and the things that we needed.
Yep.
And I couldn't stand it if the boxes of paper clips weren't lined up, with the boxes of bottles of whiteout lined up, lined up. However, the whole rest of the place could be falling apart.
Right.
Piles of tax returns, because we were busy and it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But as long as there was that little bit of order amongst all the chaos, I was okay.
Interesting. I think they call that rearranging the chairs on the Titanic. Right?
But my ship never sank.
No, I know. That's why don't take that analogy, all the way to the end.
No, right,
But
I
you had a
understand.
little thing that you
Right.
had to control, regardless of
Because
what the
everything
rest of
else
the.
was so uncontrollable,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's probably an element to that. As long as you can have some element of control in your life, you can let go of a whole lot of other stuff, because you've got, the your little personal space, everything all organized. Never mind the pile over there. I've got this organized, and I feel I have some semblance of control.
I mean, and you know what? I'll be honest. When it was crazy busy, like I use the tax office as an example. It was one person after another, after another. So when you finished with one person, very often you would take all their stuff and put it in a pile and put it behind you on the floor,
Right.
because you needed the space on the desk to take what you had from the new person,
Yep.
and you needed to make sure that you eliminated the possibility of getting it mixed up,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Like
Right.
that is not something
Right.
you want to
Clear
do.
the slate, put it on the
Clear
floor.
it,
We'll deal with it later.
but behind you, and I remember like, damn, I could feel this. Behind you there could be, 5 or 6, like just waiting for you to finish assembling them so you could send them back for
Yep.
processing. And I remember one of the first places I ever worked, they had 6 desks in their office, but they never had 6 tax preparers. And so I would just, they never had 6. Sometimes I'd be there by myself. So sometimes, because it would be so busy, I'd go to this desk, and then I'd leave the stuff there, and then I'd go to the next desk, and then I go to the next desk, and I remember one time the owner's wife said to
Don't
me,
touch
Angie,
anything. It's all my stuff.
right? She said, Angie, I'm going to have to limit you to 2 desks. And I was like, okay. Then you're going to have to, like spread the people out a little further, because I need time to, because it's important that you're careful.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like it's
Yep.
important that you don't get things mixed up. It's important that you pay attention to what you're doing. And, I was new, like back then.
Right.
I was newer in this place than I was when I had my own space. So yeah, I mean, so I guess you can be a warrior and a rebel at the same time.
Yeah, I think there's elements of
So
warrior
is
and
there
rebel.
a tempering that you want to do,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Yeah,
so you,
that brings me to my favorite tarot card, the Temperance card.
oh,
It's the balancing. You have these elements in your life that you need to keep in balance. You know what we need to do? We need to do a unit on the Enneagram.
an episode.
An episode. Thank you. An
On what?
episode on Enneagram. Because
Okay,
that,
after you tell me what that is, we can do that.
all right. It's one of those personality tools where,
Oh, okay.
right? But I would like to take kind of a metaphysical view of that tool.
Oh yeah, you can I mean, there's totally a metaphysical take on the Myers-Briggs. So
Yeah, exactly.
okay, this deck is not flipping cooperating at all. But we're already getting to the card of the day.
That's
So
true.
do you
We
have
are
any
coming-
final thoughts on what we were talking about?
We had one more subtopic, and I want to just touch on that a little bit. It's the gratitude and greed.
Oh, God,
Remember
that's
that-
a
remember
really
that
good one,
topic?
isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
I know we can't
a
do it
really good
justice.
one.
Yeah, but it was really good. And
Well, I mean, I suppose we could do another episode where we take, gratitude and compassion and forgiveness and, all those things that are bridges to other things, right?
right. And then
Because gratitude is a barrier against greed,
exactly.
right?
Yep.
You can't walk around grateful and also be greedy. I don't think it's possible.
Those are the again, that's our polar opposites.
Right. They are polar opposites, and they are so opposite that I don't think you can, like I'm convinced now, you've convinced me that you can be a warrior and a rebel at the same time, and that's
Right.
okay, right?
Yep.
Because sometimes you need the warrior energy and sometimes you need the rebel energy. So probably being one or the other is less desirable than finding a way to be a
Right.
combination
The
of the two.
temperance. Yep.
And that's how maybe we all come together, right? Like,
Yep.
so, but
on the
they-
gratitude and greed side, I think
You
that's a different.
can't-
I think that's different
you
because
can't, yeah, you can't.
Yep.
You can't. What does gratitude look like? Like, how do you practice gratitude? What does that mean for you?
Looking at your life and knowing that no matter what, there's something amazing happening in your life. Here, I'll give you a quick example. When we had our son, my mom gave me some advice. She said, just know that in every phase of bringing up a kid, there's going to be something really challenging and something really amazing, right? So,
wow.
Yeah. And this is an example, when they're a little tiny baby, they're so small and you can take them anywhere and they're so adorable, but you have to do everything for them. Fast forward a few years, he's running around like a, like
Like a lunatic.
yeah,
Go
exactly.
ahead.
But he's mobile, he's doing his own thing, but now he's getting into stuff, right? So there's your challenge and there's the beauty. And so take every age of bringing up a kid and you find something amazing. There's your gratitude and something challenging. All right, I'm going to work on that. For me, gratitude is what is amazing in my life right now, and I am grateful to the universe, to source, for that thing right now.
So I like that. And for me, it is having the ability to be grateful for whatever it is, for the good and the bad, right? Because you
Well,
have an understanding that the good and the bad, both
well,
sides, the polarity, right, brought you where
well
you
said.
are.
Yep. I'll bring up my
So,
favorite book, Loving What Is by Byron Katie.
oh, another one.
That is an absolute favorite book. Again, another life-changing book. And long and short of it is, she says, if you can get to the point where you love what is and you're not resisting what is, then you have that's the key to joy.
You know, I heard a little video by Kyle Cease just the other day that really basically said that same thing.
Cool.
Yeah, he's amazing too, Kyle Cease. I love him. He's he's a comedian turned an actual stand-up comic turned motivational spiritual speaker
Sweet.
who
I gotta look him
doesn't
up.
actually
I wasn't aware of
believe
him.
in energy work, I don't think. Although I think he's coming around to it. Like he in the beginning, I don't think he's thought too much about channeling and what have you, but you could literally watch him channeling the information. You could see it happening. It was
Right.
very,
Yep.
very cool. Anyway, okay, so we're going to do our card of the day now, and then it'll be time for us to sign off for another week. Oh my gosh, can you believe another
Right.
episode in the
The
can, if
time
you will?
just flies. We're having so much fun.
This is just amazing. So, okay, so for me, I'm using I guess you can't flip your screen. Do you see that
I'm
in the
good.
right
Yeah,
direction?
it's forward. Guardian
Oh,
Angel
okay.
Messages. Yep,
That
you're
works
good.
for me. So this is Guardian Angel Messages by Radley Valentine. This is published by Hay House. And that is the deck that I'm using. And I have drawn the 8 of Earth. And the 8 of Earth, John can tell you the tarot meaning, but I'm going to give you the meaning of the card, and then I'll give you what I get from it. So according to this, it's about education and details and focus. For me, what I believe this is telling you, and especially because it's the card of Earth, that means grounded, right? That means Earth. That means
It's
here.
grounded, and it's also quite often financials, and also having to do with things, right? It's things and financial money. It's money, and it's yeah, grounded.
Okay, so for me, it's Earth. It's grounded, like because I don't have the tarot framework in my filter. Okay, so thank you for that. But this is telling you it's time to learn something new. Time to learn something different. Time to shift your focus and figure out what you might like to do. And if it's grounded in things, material things and financials and stuff, maybe you need to learn something new to be able to do something new. So take some time. And a lot of people don't realize that one of the key components of manifesting is research.
Yes.
So that is a powerful manifesting tool. Research costs you nothing but whatever
Mhm.
you pay for the internet every month. So go online, find udemy.com, UDEMY. There are a ton of things you can take for like $10. And if you
Courses, yeah,
go in
online
and give them your
courses.
email, the next thing you know, you're getting emails with, 90% off and stuff. So go in, poke around, find something you'd love to check out. Learn something new.
Totally.
Start to shift your focus into something new. Learn something new. That's what I got. So that is the card of the week for me. And John, what deck are you using?
I'm still using the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann. So the one I used before.
Excellent.
That is my favorite deck. Let me just read the Eight of Pentacles real quick, which is the 8 of Earth that you were looking at. There's a mantra associated with every card, and I want to read it. with loving determination, I persevere. There's your skill learning there, and become the person I long to be. And when you look at what she's written for this card's basic meaning, mastering a skill, becoming an expert, and craftsmanship, the Meraki that you put into your work. So exactly spot on. Learning a new skill and doing something amazing with that. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's Radley's card, so I would expect nothing less than it to
True.
line up with the tarot, right?
True. Yeah.
Like,
Okay. All right. My card for the day is this one. This is the Queen of Pentacles. So also an Earth card.
oh, wow.
Yeah. So we got a lot of Earth here. And when you get the same card a lot in a reading, it's an extra focus. So if you're concerned about money, if you're concerned about your financial well-being, this focus on what we're saying today, and it may resonate with you. Dun, dun, dun. All right. So the Queen of Pentacles, I'm going to read the mantra for that one. I enjoy my deeply connected life, and I lead it with an outpouring of warmth, abundance, and love. So the Queen of Pentacles, healer, a self-made person, material wealth and abundance. So this is a really, really nice abundance card, but it is coupled with the Queen, which is kind of the soft side of it. So it's not like we're going to make money at any what's the phrase? We're I'm not out to make money no matter what. This is the softer side of abundance. This is skills and things coming to you, a self-made person. So really being able to take your own self, your own business, your own self-employment, or your own efforts, and using those to bring in your abundance.
There you go. I mean, it's all about learning something new, bringing on abundance, financial gains.
Yeah.
So you gave me the idea to go for the angel message, right? In Radley's
Right.
book. And it's,
Love it.
you are in a physical body having a human experience. Ooh, where have we heard that today? So that you can learn. You may not be aware of it right now, but you exist to learn. You dearly love incorporating new wisdom into your soul. Just make sure to study things that send thrills through you, as those are the experiences you are on earth to embody.
Wow, that's talking about
Amazing,
wrapping
right?
it into a nice tight circle.
Right? Like, there you go.
Oh, man.
Once again, an amazing episode. I am so happy that you've agreed to do this with me.
Likewise,
I've been
Angie.
looking forward to putting the talk show back together again for quite some time. So I'm ever so grateful to you, truly, truly grateful to you for the participation in the conversation. So thank you. Thank you
I
so
echo
much.
everything you just said, Angie. This has been really one of the highlights of the year for sure. Maybe even like my life. So
and let's just just take one little second and close our eyes and think about what it's like at the end of the year when we have over 1,000 subscribers and lots of inputs, and the people who are here with us today have expanded and grown, and we appreciate them for joining us, and we show you gratitude and love for being here with us and being loyal listeners and loyal participants. We just love you and we appreciate you. And we will see you next week when we talk about astrology with Lisa Hagenbuck.
All right.
Awesome. So that is everything for Does It Resonate With You? I'm Angie.
I'm John.
And we'll see you next week.